We begin the Gemara today towards the bottom of Daf Peizayin Amud Beis, about 7 lines from the bottom, where it says M'dayraisa minolan. So, what did it say here in the Gemara? It proves from the Mishnah. We're speaking here about a woman that Eid Echad came along and said, your husband passed away. And the Mishnah said that we could rely on Eid Echad and she can get remarried. Then they brought the other Mishnahs later in the Masechta that says the same thing. And then the Gemara brought a Mishnah where it says the same regarding an Isser of Chaylev, that you can trust one aid to tell you that this is not Chaylev, this is not forbidden fats, but permitted fats. So you rely on an Eid Echad. So the Gemara here is going to try to figure out what's the source of this idea that we rely on Eid Echad. Midayraisa minola. From Minat Torah, where do we see the source for this, that we believe in Eid Echad? So the Gemara says as follows. The Tanya we learned in Abraisa regarding a carbon chatas. If it was known to him that he sinned, so it uses the term Elov. Elov means that he himself knows, which is but not that others are telling him. He himself has to know this, that he sinned, then he brings a carbon chatas. But then the Braisa says, Yachol, I would think that means Potter, that if others come and tell you that you sinned and you have to bring a carbon chatas, and the person himself is not denying it, that even then he would be Potter. So on the other hand, it says the word hoida. Hoida means not that he knew on his own, but even others are telling him, which is mikol makim. He knows about it either way, not only on his own. So we sort of have two opposite things that this pasuk is saying. On one hand, it uses the term elov to say that he himself has to know about this, and not that others are telling him. On the other hand, the pasuk is using the term hoida, that means that others are telling you. So the Gemara now will explain what exactly is the case that this Braisa was speaking about. So heichidami, what are we speaking about here? Ilay medasa trei is the case here that two Eidim came along and told him, listen, you ate chaylev and you have to bring a carbon chatas. So two Eidim told us to him, and v'loy kamak chishlahu, and he's not denying what these two Eidim told him. So, and that's what the pasuk is saying. Hoida elov, that two Eidim told this to him, so I'll have to bring a carbon chatas. This is what I need a pasuk for. We always know that when two Eidim say something, you have to trust what they say. Whether you deny what they say, whether you don't deny what they say, it doesn't make any difference. Two Eidim say something, you don't need any pasuk to tell you that you have to follow what the two Eidim say. Elolah, so don't you think, what is this Baraisa speaking about? Chat, that there is one Eid here. One Eid is coming and telling you that I saw that you ate chaylev and you have to bring chatas. And now, what it's saying is, if this person does not deny what this Eid Echad says, mehemen, the Eid Echad is believed. If he himself denies it, so then we say, Elov. Then we use the word Elov and we say, you yourself deny it. So you don't have to bring a chatas. But if you're not denying it, then I say, Hoida, that this Eid is telling you that you have to bring a carbon, you have to listen to the Eid. So Shema Mina, from here I see Eid Echad Nemon, that one Eid is believed to be Mechayev this person on Chatas, and we could apply the same thing regarding our Mishnah, that we trust one Eid to say that she can get remarried. Frag the Gemara, there's no Raya from there. Umimai, how do you know the reason is? Because we believe that one Eid, the Mishum de Mehemen, that we're believing this Eid, Dilma Mishum de Kashasik. Maybe it's not only the belief we have on this word of this Eid, but it's also because, in addition, this person himself that ate the chaylev is quiet, and he agrees to the Eid. His being quiet is what's mechayev him to bring the carbon, right? Maybe by a carbon there's a special halacha that we're relying on the person himself, and that's the reason why he's bringing the pasuk. But it's not only because of the Eid. Over here, in this case, his being quiet is admitting, he's saying, yes, I ate a chaylev, and over here by the carbon chatas, the main thing is what the person himself is saying here. And so he's being quiet, so he's saying that he ate a chaylev. And therefore, what's Gemara's question? That's only over here. Here, this person is being quiet, and therefore we're relying on that by a carbon chatas. But before, when we're talking about a person, a woman that is being told that her husband passed away, her being quiet is worthless. She doesn't know if he did or didn't pass away. So over there, we're just relying on the words of Eid Echad, who says over there, we could rely on him. You don't have her shtiki kaida. So the Gemara says, over here, Taida, and the Gemara now says, I'll prove to you that that's the case here. That the reason why this person is going to bring a carbon chatas when there's an Eid Echad is because he himself is also quiet and he's admitting, sort of. So, Taida, I'll prove this Yuduk Tani Seifa. What does it say in the Seifa of that Braisa? Omru Shnayim, Achalta Chaylev. If two Eidim come along and say to a woman, we saw you ate Chaylev, or not a woman, or whatever, any person. You ate chaylev. V'hu oimer, and this person says, lo yachalti. No, I did not eat chaylev. Potter. So the Rabbanon, the Tanakama, and this Braisa says that even though two Eidim said that he ate chaylev, but he himself said he did not, it's going to be potter. Rav Meir mechayev. Rav Meir says, no, if two Eidim say you ate chaylev, of course you chayev to bring a carbon. And Rav Meir asks on the Tanakama, Omer Rav Meir, so Rav Meir asks and says, Kal v'chaymer. There's a Kal v'chaymer that the Eidim should be believed. If we trust two Eidim, even when they say Eidos, let's say that someone was Machal Shabbos, and they could be Mechayev, a person, they should be liable for Misa to die. So Leviul, they carbon Makal, we can't trust these two Eidim that he should be Chayev to bring a carbon. Who cares if he denies what the Eidim said? We're going to trust him against two Eidim. Amrullah, so the Chachamim answered and said, no, by a carbon it's different. Ma'im yirtze loymar mezid ayisi. Over here, what did the two Eidim say? We saw you eating chaylev, so you have to bring a carbon chatas. So he comes along, and if you would say to the Eidim, you're right, I ate chaylev, but what I ate was b'mezid. So since I ate it b'mezid, I'm not chayav a carbon chatas. So he can contradict the words of the Eidim in this case, and pater himself of a carbon chatas. So therefore, even when he says that he did not eat the chaylev, since he could have denied the words of the Eidim by saying that he was a mezid, here his words are stronger than the Eidim. And therefore, he's going to be potter. That's what the Tanakama, the Rabbanon hold in the Sefer of this Braisa, even when there are two Eidim here. So now let's go back to the Reisha. Reisha, my time become Machayvi Rabbanon. So in the Sefer, it brings this machlekes regarding the case of the two Eidim. Now in the Reisha, when there was just one Eid, over there it said that the Rabbanon say that if there's an Eid Echad, saying that you ate Chaylev, you would be Chayiv. So what's the difference? Why in the Reisha did the Rabbanon not argue about this? If you're going to say in the Reisha, when the Rabbanan said he's chayiv, is because we trust that Eid Echad, that can't be. If in the Sefer, the Rabbanan say that even by two Eidim, he has the power to deny what the Eidim said, for sure in the Reisha, and the Gemara explains the Kal v'chaymer. V'hatrei, when it comes to two Eidim, of course two Eidim are stronger than one Eid. But Alma, usually, not here, but usually, the Afagav the Chamak Cheshluhu inu mehemni. By two Eidim, you could deny what two Eidim say from today till tomorrow, it doesn't matter. The two Eidim are always going to be believed. And nevertheless, over here, the Kapatri Rabbanan, even though two Eidim are so strong regarding a carbon, the Rabbanan say that if you deny what the Eidim say, you're going to be potter. Because you could have said you're amazed. You have a power to go against two Eidim here. So in the Reisha, when there's an Eid Echad saying that you chayev a carbon chatas, why there did the Rabbanan not argue? Why there did the Rabbanan say that you would have to bring a carbon chatas? Elolav. So the only way to explain this is mishum de ishtik, because in the Reisha it's speaking about that this person that the Eid Echad says that ate the chaylev is quiet. He's not responding. He's not denying what the Eid Echad said. And shtike kaida damya. And because he's quiet, so he's admitting that he ate the chaylev. So he's admitting. It's if you say that the carbon is up to him to admit, he's admitting that he ate the chaylev, and therefore it's going to be chayev. So what's the point the Gemara is making here? You can't prove from here that an Eid Echad is believed for matters of Isser or for matters of a woman getting remarried. Because over there, that case is unique. By a carbon, the pasuk says Elov, that it's up to him to say that he ate the chaylev. And over there, the only reason he has to bring the carbon is not because of the Eid Echad, but rather because he himself is quiet and he's admitting that he ate the chaylev. If it's a shaykik, I mean, if he's quiet and the Eidim say we saw you ate chaylev and you chayev chatas, and he doesn't react to it, so then he's being made that he's the shaykik, correct? Ella, so therefore the Gemara says, from where do we know that an Eid Echad is believed? Svarihi. We're going to say it's without any pasuk. It's just logical to say so. Why? Midi dahava chaticha. You have a piece of meat. Safik shel chaylev. It's a safik if it's forbidden fats that cannot be eaten, or safik shel shuman, or it's permitted fats. V'asei de'echad v'amar, and Eid Echad comes along and says, Barili the shumanhu. I know for a fact that this is permitted fats. So the Eid Echad is coming and telling us about this piece that we don't know about what it is. The Mehemen. So this Eid Echad in such a case is believed. So the Gemara over here accepts that this is, we don't need any pasuk for this. We're going to have to logically say that we believe in Eid Echad. And Rashi says, how do we know this? We know this from everyday life. If you're eating in your house and your wife is cooking, you trust your wife that it's kosher food. If you're being invited to your friend's house and he's serving you a meal, do you rely on your friend that he's serving you kosher food? Yeah. So it must be that when an Eid Echad is serving you food and you ask him, what is this? He tells you that this is shuman, this is kosher food. You could rely on him. So otherwise, life would be impossible. You always have to have two Eidim. Every time you cook, every time you do anything, you have to have two Eidim present. It's impossible. So it's a svara that when it comes to these kinds of matters of Isser and Heter, that you have to rely on an Eid Echad. So therefore, over here as well, regarding our Mishnah, when it comes to this question of whether a woman could get remarried or she's still forbidden, she's still an Eishes Ish, we rely on Eid Echad. But the Gemara says, no, you can't bring a raya from this everyday life. Why not? Midami, what comparison is there here? Hasam, in the case that you're saying when the food is being served and you're not sure what this is it shuman or chaylev, and you're relying on an Eid Echad. So lo yischazik isura. You're not dealing with a situation where there's already a presumption of Isser. You're not dealing with a case where there was a status of Isser that was already pre-established from before. You're dealing with food that's being served and you're not sure if it's kosher or not, and you're relying on an Eid Echad to tell you that it is. But what are we dealing with in our Mishnah? Here we're dealing with a case where of a woman that we knew for a fact that she was married and she was an Eishes Ish. So there was an Isser that was established already. And now you want to come and rely on one A to remove that Isser. Over here when there's an Eishes Ish, so not only is it that you can't rely on an aid necessarily in this case, but even more so, we know when it comes to any Isser, which is a Davisha Be'erva, an Isser which involves an Eishes Ish, you have to have two Eidim to say that this woman is permitted. So how could we be mad to this woman just with an Eid Echad saying that her husband passed away? Answers the Gemara, Holedamye. No, this is not an answer. This is sort of a continuation of the question. So our case would only be compared Ella l'chatiche to when you have a piece of food, the vadai chaylev. You have a piece of food that's sitting there on the table, and the one that serves it saw where it came from, and he says, I know for a fact that this is from the part of the animal, which is chaylev, it's forbidden fats. He knows it for a fact, he saw himself. And Ava also Eid Echad v'amar, and Eid Echad comes along and says, Bari li the shumanava. I know for a fact that it's permitted fats. You can't believe him. The person that's serving it saw and knows for a fact that it's forbidden. So you can't rely on Eid Echad. So the Gemara says, okay, so l'chayre, this example is similar to our case. You have an Eishes Ish, and because you have an Eishes Ish, you know for a fact that she's an Eishes Ish, you can't rely now on an Eid Echad to come and say that her husband died. But the Gemara says it's not the same thing to the case that we just brought regarding fats that you know for a fact was forbidden. Midami, how's it compared? Hasam, over there, in the case when you have these forbidden fats, even if you can have 100 Eidim that are going to come and tell you that these fats, this meat, these fats that are here are permitted, you're not going to believe even 100 Eidim. Why not? If you see something with your very own eyes, that this was taken from the section in the animal that's forbidden, and 100 Eidim are going to come and tell you that it's kosher, are you going to be allowed to eat it? You say, well, 100 Eidim are saying so. I saw with my own eyes that it's forbidden fats. Doesn't matter what I saw, but Eidim are telling me that it's kosher. It doesn't work that way. If you saw with your very own eyes that this is forbidden fats, so then it doesn't matter who's going to tell you it's permitted, it's still going to be forbidden. So over there, even 100 Eidim are not going to be believed. But over here regarding the case of our Mishnah, where the question is whether this woman could get remarried, over here, if two Eidim come and say that her husband died, so are they going to be believed? Yeah, they're going to be believed. Right? Even though we know she was married before, but it doesn't mean her husband is still alive. That could change. By fats, the forbidden fats cannot change. But over here, it could change. So maybe over here as well, one aid should be believed to say that the husband died. And here the Gemara brings another source from where we see this concept that one aid could be believed regarding other matters of Isser. Midi dahava atevel hektish v'kenomis. We should compare it to the Isser of tevel, which is untithed produce. He didn't take yet the trumas and maisris. You're not allowed to eat from it. And we believe a person that he took the maisris. Hektish, regarding an item that was hektish, we believe a person to say that he redeemed it. And kainomis. Kainomis is a neder a person makes when he says kainom. Something should be kainom. It's a lashon of a neder. So we believe a person as well to say that it became mutter. So if we believe a person by those Yisurim, maybe we believe regarding a woman to get remarried as well, an Eid Echad. So the Gemara says, wait a minute, is this true? I mean, exactly where do we see regarding these three things, Tevel, Hektish, and Kainomais, that we believe in Eid Echad? Hi Tevel Echidami, what kind of Tevel are we talking about? Idi day, If this is tevel that this person himself owns, so you know why he himself is believed that he took the maasros and the truma, mishum de biyadai lesaknai, because it's all in his hands. He's the one that has the power to remove that. Biyadai, this is a concept called biyadai, and some Mefarshim say that the pshat of biyadai is that here, the reason why we would not believe him is because there's a cheskas iser. Like the Gemara said before, when there's a chazaka, we don't believe in eidechot. So over here, you have this untithed produce, so there's a cheskas iser. But biyadai takes away chazaka. The chazaka is only something that you can't change. But if you yourself could change that, so then there is no chazaka of iser. So therefore you're believed. So over there, it's in your hands. Regarding this woman that wants to get remarried, it's not in her hands right now that her husband is dead. Ella the achra. We're talking about the produce that belongs to someone else. And you are saying that the maasros was taken from that. And still you're believed. So now, Maike Savar, what do we hold about this? If it's someone else's produce, Ike Savar, if we hold, you can take maasros from your own produce for your friend's produce, and it takes effect, and it's good. So then, and it's tzarich das bailim. You don't need the owner to come and be aware of this and give you the permission to do this. So again, the point remains, it's in your hands. You can give the maasros, and therefore you're believed to say that you took it. Now, if you're going to say that when another person owns his produce and you want to give maasros for him, you can't do it. You're going to need his permission for this. And for Amar, and what you're coming and saying is, I know that person's produce, maasros was taken from it. I can't take it, but I know that he did. That's what this person is coming and saying. So the Gemara says, no, but he gufa minalan. This itself, how do you know this is true? How do you know that this eidechel is believed to say about someone else's produce that the maasros was taken from it? So there's no raya from here. Same thing the Gemara now is going to say regarding hektish. Hektish nami is similar regarding hektish. So we said a person is believed to say that he redeemed the hektish. So now ikdush is domim. Are we talking about hektish? There's two types of hektish. There's a hektish for the mizbeach, which is kedushas haguf, it has a physical holiness like a carbon, and then there's a hektish, it belongs to the bedek habayis, that's used for the construction and things in the Beis Hamikdash. That's only kedushas domim. It has the kedush of the value of its money. So why would a person be believed regarding hektish to say that it was redeemed? Mishum to be yadei liftaisa, because it's in his hands. He could redeem it. Now, kedushas haguf, if we're talking about a carbon which has a physical sanctity on the body, so idi day, if this is your carbon that you will makdish, mishum de biyadai li'tshuli alel. And so the reason you're believed is because even by this carbon, you can be shoyal on this kachim. When a person is makdish a behemah, he could revoke that. He can come and be and take away the neder that he made to be makdish this behemah as a carbon. So that's why he's believed, because he himself could do it. Elo da acher. So what are we talking about over here? That it's a behemoth that belongs to someone else. That he was makdish, and va'amar, and this eid echad is coming and saying, Yedayne bei de itchel mare alao. I know that the owner of that behemoth went and removed the hektish. He was shoyal on the neder of that hektish, and now it's not hektish anymore. But the question is, he gufa minalan. How do you know that you're actually believed to say that? So there's no source from here either. And the Gemara says a similar thing regarding kainamais, which is again when a person says a neder that this item should be a kainam, which is a iser. Now the question is, this lashon of kainam, what kind of a iser is that? So the Gemara says kainamais nami regarding a neder which is a kainam as well. I kasavar, if we hold yesh mi'ile b'kainamais, that when a person uses the term kainam regarding any object, it makes the thing holy for hektish. That's what the term kainam means. And therefore, if you use it, there's me'ila, which is misusing something that belongs to hektish. So if so, kedusha damim nachsalahu. So therefore, there's the sanctity of hektish, the value of the money that's on this, that takes effect on this item. So why would you be believed there? The same like we said before, mishum de biyadei liftaisai. Any hektish, you could, not any, but the hektish which is kedushas damim, you could redeem it. That's why you're believed. And that when you use the term kainam, it does not become hektish. And and it's just a regular iser that's riding on its shoulders, meaning it's like any nether. Any nether, a person says, this object should be also for me. That's what this nether over here is. So again, the reason why he's believed would be as follows. If it belongs to him, so mishum de biyadei li'tshula aleh, any neder, you can go to a rav and be mata neder. You can revoke your neder. That's why you're believed in it. It's in your hands. Elo da acher. So what are you saying? What would you be speaking about over here? Somebody else made a neder. And you as an Eid Echad would be believed for someone else. And v'ama, you come along and say, I know that the owner was shoyel, he removed his neder on this thing. But he gufa min alon. How do you know that Eid Echad is believed for that? We don't have any source for this. So ultimately the Gemara came down after all these different points here that the fact that Eid Echad is believed for a matter of a Isser, if there's no cheskas Isser, so then the Gemara said svarahu. It's logical to say, we must say that Eid Echad is believed. Otherwise, no one will ever be able to serve you food. But in a case where there is a cheskas Isser, from where do we know that an Eid Echad is believed? And our case that we're speaking about over here, which is the woman trying to get remarried, is a case of a cheskas Isser. So why would an Eid Echad be believed? So we're still left with the question. Rab Zera answers, because we're being very stringent with this woman at the end, so therefore we're being very mekel, we're going to be very lenient with her in the beginning. What's the chumrah that we're very, very stringent with her at the end? The chumrah that it says in our Mishnah. If she ends up getting remarried, and then her husband, her original husband, comes back, teitze mizeh mizeh, she's going to be stuck now. She's going to have to leave both husbands, she's going to have to get a get from both of them. So because we're very stringent with her later, so therefore we're going to rely in the beginning on her accepting the words of the Eid Echad. And as I mentioned before, Rashi says in the Mishnah, and Rashi over here says again, that the Bezdin says to the woman, we're going to rely on this Eid Echad. But you have to interrogate, make sure that the words of the Eid Echad are true, because you should know, if later it turns out that what the Eid Echad said is not true, you're going to suffer the consequences. So you better make an investigation now. So because we're being very stringent on her now in the beginning, again, in the end that is, because in the end we're going to be very stringent with her, so therefore in the beginning we're lenient with her and we allow her to get married based on the Eid Echad. Frek the Gemara, why are we doing this? Why are we being very stringent with her later in order to be able to be lenient with her in the beginning to rely on Eid Echad? Don't be stringent with her later, and don't be lenient with her in the beginning. Let's leave things the way they are, minat teire, l'chayre, that is, that you can't rely on Eid Echad. And says the Gemara, mishum iguna akilu barabanan. The reason is because a woman which her husband went overseas and she won't be able to get remarried, she'll be an aguna. Aguna means like she's locked up, like she can't ever get remarried. So therefore, because we don't want her to be an aguna, we were especially lenient with her later. Now that is, that she'll be able to get remarried. So therefore, we have to be stringent with her later. That's maskana the Gemara. There's one thing though that's not very clear in the Gemara here. If minat Torah you do need two Eidim to be able to get remarried, like the Gemara said before, that this is a davar shebe'evet, this is a serious matter of an eishes ish, how could Chachamim come along and rely on an Eid Echad? How could Chachamim uproot what it says in the Torah? So many Rishonim discuss this. There are many different pshatim about this. One of the pshatim that there is about this is Taisvis. And Taisvis says that this is a special power Chachamim have. Chachamim could be oiker adava min ha-Torah, and even bekum vasei, even if they are allowing her to go do an action, to get remarried against what the Torah says, that you need two Eidim, but Chachamim have a power to do this. Mishum iguna. Chachamim were masakin this. So this is a huge chiddush that the Gemara is saying here. There are other pshatim in the Rishonim, but this is one pshat that Taisa says regarding the conclusion of the Gemara, which is not clear in the actual words of the Gemara itself. Going back to the Mishnah. So it said in the Mishnah, Teitze mizeh o mizeh. She got remarried based on the words of one Eid, and now her husband shows up. She has to leave now both the first and second husband. So Rav said about this, Lo shanu ela shenisis be'eid echad. The halacha of the Mishnah is only true when she got remarried now with one Eid. But if she went and got remarried based on the words of two Eidim that said that her husband died, so then even if her original husband showed up, she doesn't have to leave from her second husband. That's the way it was quoted in the name of Rav. So the way the Gemara understands right now what this means is that she doesn't have to leave the second husband, even though her first husband showed up. But because two Eidim said that he died, and she got remarried, she doesn't have to leave the second husband. So the Gemara says, Machku aleh b'marava. In Marava, which is Eretz Yisrael, they laughed on this halacha that was said in the name of Rav. Asa Gavra, the man, the first husband arrives, he's here. V'koy, and he's standing right in front of us. V'at amret lo teitze. And you're saying that she doesn't have to leave her second husband? If the first husband is here, she's an Eishes Ish, we know she was married to the first husband. How can you say that she doesn't have to leave the second husband? Who cares if there's two Eidim that said that he died? But he's here, he's standing right in front of us. Says the Gemara, the case must be this man shows up and claims that he is the first husband, but we don't recognize him. We don't know if he's the first husband or not. So in such a case we say, if she got remarried, she doesn't have to leave the second husband. Says the Gemara, wait a minute, if that's the case, if we can't recognize that is the first husband, so why, if she got remarried based on the words of one aid, if the husband shows up and we don't even know that he's the husband, he just claims that he's the husband, we don't even recognize him, why should she have to leave the second husband? We don't know who this guy that showed up over here is. And says the Gemara, the case over here is the Asu Beitrei Va'amri. There are two Edom that come along and say, Anan Havinam Ba'adei, we were together with this individual, Michinafak, from when he left his wife, Va'ad Hashta, until now. We traveled along with him the entire time, and Va'atanhu. And he is this person. He is the husband. Two Edom are coming and telling us that he is the husband. Again, I read it wrong. Just let me touch the word again. And you, people here, don't recognize him, but we do recognize him. We know that he is the person. Now the Gemara explains how is such a thing possible. How is it possible that the people, the wife, and all the other people that knew this man, when he left his city, he went overseas, let's say for a few years, and he comes back. How is it possible that they should not recognize him? Shouldn't we just say that these two Edom are lying? So the Gemara says, yeah, it is possible. The Pasuk says by Yosef, that Yosef recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. Why not? Rav Chisda explained, when he left from his father, so he had no beard yet, and he came back, and now he had a beard, so therefore, not he came back, when the brothers met Yosef in Mitzrayim, so he had a beard, so therefore they didn't recognize him. So therefore it's possible that this husband should not be recognized. So what's the point the Gemara is saying? The Gemara doesn't spell this out, but what the Gemara is saying over here basically is that you have over here a case, two Edom are telling us that this husband died. Another two Edom are coming and telling us he's not dead, this is him. So we have two against two basically, and we don't know who to trust. This is what's always called a trey. What do you do in such a case? So in such a case, Rav was saying, if she did not get married yet, she shouldn't get remarried, because it's a suffix. Once she got remarried, so now we allow her to remain married. Why? Because it's a suffix. It's two against two, and once she got remarried, we allow it. But the Gemara asks on this, how could you say so? Sof, in the end, the question still remains. Trei utrei ninu. This is two against two. And what's the halacha when you have a situation where there's a suffix, if she is an Eishes Ish or not, she can't get remarried. A woman which is a suffix Eishes Ish, anyone that gets married to her, anyone that has a relation with her, this is a suffix Eishes Ish, you're going to have to bring a Asham Tolui. So, Basham Tolikai, so in such a case, how could she continue living with her second husband? Every single time she would want to be with him, it's a suffix that she might be an Eishes Ish. So how could we say that Loi Teitzei? Rav Sheshes answers, the case is she got married. One of those Edom that said, I saw your husband died. She got married to one of those Edom. Now he might be thinking that's a disadvantage if she's getting married to one of those Edom. So it might look like that this Ed is only saying this because he wants to get remarried to her. But it's not true. It's not so. There are two Edom that are saying this. And when two Edom say something, we trust two Edom. Two Edom have a very strong kayach in Torah. Now, what's the point of the fact that she got married to one of those Edom? You don't bring a Asham Toloi if you yourself are sure that what you're doing is not an Isser. Rashi here says you only bring a Asham Toloi mi shelibay naikfai if in your heart you're unsure of whether what you did is mutter or asr. But over here, she's getting married to one of those Edom that said that her husband died. So then, for him, it's totally allowed. He knows, he saw that the husband died. Frek the Gemara, that's him, that's the aid. But she herself, the woman herself, Basham Tali Kaima, she's unsure if her husband is alive or not, because there are two Eidim that are contradicting one another here. So for her, how could she get married to the second and remain married to the second husband? So the Gemara answers by meres bodily. Rav was speaking about a case. Not only she got married to that aid that said that her husband died, but she herself is also saying, I know for a fact that my husband died. And this guy that came here and claimed that he's my husband, it's not him. Rashi says she knows her husband. She has simonim on his body to know that this man is not her husband. And therefore, for her, if once she got married, a second marriage, she could remain married. That's the case over here. That's what Rav came to teach us. If that's the case, so then Maila Memra, what's the chiddush over here? And the Gemara here is going to bring a machlokes about this. And this is a case that is obvious, and everybody agrees that she can remain remarried. Afilu Rab Menachem b'Rab Yosi. Rab Menachem b'Rab Yosi, as we're about to quote here, a braisa, where he was more stringent about a case where there's a suffix, and she got already remarried. Rab Menachem b'Rab Yosi was more stringent that she has to leave. But Loika Amar, he did not say so, Elo keshabo Eidim v'achakach nisis. If Eidim came and said that your husband is still alive, 2 Eidim said that he died, but 2 Eidim came and said that he's still alive, and only afterwards she went and got married. So then Rabbi Nachman Rabbi Yosi was stringent that she'll have to leave. Aval nisis v'achkach bo Eidim. If she already got remarried, and only afterwards Eidim came and said that your husband is still alive, even Rabbi Nachman Rabbi Yosi would agree that she could remain married. Lo yamar, he didn't say that you have to leave. So the Gemara here brings the braisa where there's a machlekes about the subject we're speaking about, and again, the subject we're speaking about is 2 Eidim that are contradicting another 2 Eidim regarding whether the husband is alive or dead. So what do you do in such a case? The Tanya, so we learned in the Braisa as follows. Shnayim Emrim Meis, 2 Eidim say your husband died. Shnayim Emrim Loi Meis, 2 people, 2 Eidim come and say no, he did not die. Shnayim Emrim Nizgarsha, 2 say that she's divorced. Shnayim Emrim Loi Nizgarsha, and 2 say she was not divorced. So Harezu Loi Tinose, she can't get remarried. Vim Nisis, but once she did get remarried, Loi Taitse, she doesn't leave. So Rashi here brings, the Gemara in Ksubas explains that she does not have to leave if she got married to one of those Eidim that said that her husband died, and she herself is sure about it as well, like we said before. So there's no Asham Tali, she can get married to a person that's sure that he died. That's the Tanakama. Rabbi Nachman b'Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Nachman b'Rabbi Yosi says, when 2 Eidim are contradicting 2 Eidim about whether her husband is alive or not, and she got married, she's going to have to leave. And Rabbi Nachman Rabbi Yosi explains when he says this. When do I say that she's going to have to leave? That's only if Eidim came and said that her husband is alive, and afterwards she went ahead and got married. So she's not allowed to do that. Once there's a suffix about this, how did she go and get married? So in such a case, she's going to have to leave. But if she got married first to one of those Eidim that said that her husband is dead, and only afterwards Eidim came and said that he's alive. Over here, there's no. So she's sure that her husband is dead. The Eidim is sure that Eid is sure her husband is dead. So we don't give her any knas. She can remain married to her husband. So therefore, the Gemara's question is: we see that in such a case, everybody agrees that she could remain married to her husband, to her second husband. So what was the chiddush of Rav over here? Answers the Gemara, Kika Amar Rav, Rav's chiddush was, Nami bizman shabo Eidim v'achakach nisis. Rav was not talking about a case where she got married before Eidim came and said, again, she got married after Eidim came and said that her husband is still alive. Rather, what happened was, first Eidim came along and said that her husband is alive, and only afterwards she went and got married. And what's the chiddush over here? La'afukim with Rabbi Nachman and Rabbi Yosi. Rav was coming to say, to exclude of the opinion of Rabbi Nachman and Rabbi Yosi. So true, this is Taka Machlokes Tanoim here in this Braisa, the Tanakama and Rabbi Nachman and Rabbi Yosi. When you have a trey, what happens to this woman? Could she go and get remarried if she's sure that her husband is dead? And that aid that says that her husband died is sure, could she get remarried? So Rav is coming to say, yes, she can. We paskin like the Tanakama that she could get remarried. That's what Rav came to say. Others say in the reverse. No, Rav actually came to say that we paskin like Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yosi. The time the nisis v'achakach bo Eidim. The only reason why she can remain married is because first she got married and then Eidim came and said that her husband died. But if Eidim came first and said that her husband is still alive and then afterwards she went and got remarried, so then she has to leave. Kaman, and according to who is this? Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yosi. Going according to Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yosi, that in a case where she first Eidim came and said that her husband is still alive, and then she got remarried, then Rav is coming to say, like Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yosi, that she's going to have to leave her husband. So there's two shittas over here, whether Rav is paskin like the Tanakame or like Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yosi. Masav Rava asked on this halacha of Rav. Again, the point of the halacha of Rav in the beginning, that the way the Gemara explained it is that when you have a trey, there's a contradiction over here, whether the husband is alive or not, and she went ahead and got remarried, she does not have to leave her husband. In this case, again, what's the case? Only if she got married to one of the Eidim, and she herself is sure that her husband is dead. So Rav asked on this, it says in the Braisa, Minayin Shem Lo Yirotzo, from where do we know if he doesn't want? What is this speaking about? This is speaking about a kohen. A kohen is not allowed to be metamet to certain individuals. A kohen is not allowed to get married to certain women that are apostle to him. So how do we know if he does not want to listen to this? The panoi. Pani means that we hit him, we force him. We force him to listen to us. Talmud Lai, Bezdin that is. Bezdin forces him. Talmud Laimar, so the pasuk says, Vikidashtoi, that we have to sanctify the Kohen, which means Bal Karachai, even against his will. So the Gemara wants to understand, when is it that we need a special pasuk here to say that Bezdin forces him? Hey Chidami, what are we speaking about? So are we speaking about over here a case where there's a suffix about the status of this woman, and there are two Eidim saying, so we're going to have to be speaking about a case where there's a suffix over here. If it's not a case which is a suffix, if a Kohen comes along and says, I want to get married to somebody that's asur to me, I want to get married to a woman that's apostle to me, for sure we're going to force the Kohen not to do so. The basis of this Gemara here is that not only when you get to the Isser of a Kohen, any Isser in the Torah, if a Yid wants to be over a Isser, it's Bezdin's responsibility to hold him back of that. And Bezdin has to force him of not doing that Isser. So over here, there's a special pasuk that comes and says that the Bezdin has to stop him from doing this. What do we need a special pasuk of that the Bezdin has to stop him dafke by a Kohen? So if the case over here is the Lo Nisis Lechat Meidel, meaning it's a case where you have a suffix. Two Edom are saying that this person is mutter for him, and two are saying that she's not. And he's getting married. He's not getting married, that is. He's not getting married to one of the Edom that are saying that this woman is mutter to him. It's a suffix here. And Veloi ka'amra barili. And she herself is also not saying that I'm sure that I'm mutter to get married to him. Do we have to say that we would hit this guy, that we would force him not to do this Isser? This is the halach in Kol HaTorah. Any Yid that wants to do Isser, we always force and make sure he doesn't do the Isser. Why does it have to say a special thing over here? Elalav, don't you think the chiddush over here regarding the Kohen is the nisis le'echad me'edel, that she's getting married to one of those Eidim that are saying that this woman is mutter to him, and v'kamra barili, and she's also saying that I'm 100% sure that I'm mutter to him. And v'katani depano and dapnoi. We still learn out from the pasuk v'kidashtoi that that's the chiddush by a kohen. That even so, in such a case, because Bezdin sees that there's a contradiction of Eidim here, that Bezdin has to force this kohen not to marry this woman. So Alma, what do we see over here? Mafkina leminei, that we take out this person from this woman that he wants to marry. Then there's a suffix over here about this. So I see that in a case where there's a suffix, that the Bezdin will take out this person from this woman. And this is talking about what? About a case of a suffix regarding a kohen, who a kohen can marry. So the way the Gemara understands this is, for sure we should say regarding a suffix of an eshes ish, which is a much bigger isser, a kares, a much bigger isser than a isser of marrying a kohen, marrying a woman that's possible to him. For sure we should force. So the Gemara says, no, actually, the Isser of Kohona, Isser Kohona Shani. The Isser by a Kohen is different. Over there, we actually force because there's a special Chumrah by a Kohen where the Torah says, Vikidashtoi, that in this case, where there's a suffix, even though she's marrying that aid that says, for sure, I know I'm mutter, and she says, I know I'm mutter, but in that case, by a Kohen, the Isser of a Kohen is different. We're more machmer by a Kohen. Another answer the Gemara says, there's no raya from there. My dafnoi, when it says dafnoi that we force him, it doesn't mean we physically hit him. Rather, what it means is dafnoi be'edim. What it means is that the Bezdin over there will make an extra interrogation. Usually what happens? If two Eidim come and say, your husband died, Bezdin just allows her to go and get married. Over here as well, if two Eidim would come and say, this woman is mutter for you to marry her as a kohen, we should just let her go get married. But over here, Bezdin forces him to make it. They make an extra interrogation. They try to look around and they ask all kinds of people. Maybe you can say Eidus that this woman is possible to this kohen? If they find Eidim that will say that this woman is possible to this kohen, so then they'll accept those Eidim. They look to see if they can find any Eidim to contradict the Eidim that say the heter. So that's a special chumrah also by a kohen that does not apply to a regular case of an eshes ish. Or we can say kishabo Eidim v'achakach nisis. That over there the case is, why is it that we force this woman, that it says that that the Bezdin has to force her not to marry him? So because Eidim already came and said that she's not that she's puzzled to this kohen, and and then this person still went ahead and married this woman. But Rabbi Nachman, Rabbi Yosi, this is going according to the opinion of Rabbi Nachman, Rabbi Yosi, that in such a case she's going to have to leave her husband. So as the Mefarshim explained, the chiddush over here by a kohen is that by a kohen minat Torah, she's going to have to leave her husband. Before, by an eshes ish, Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yosi said that you have to leave, but that's only a knas midrabanan. Over here, minat Torah, she's going to have to leave. Rav Ashi says, now this Rav Ashi is not on this last point that we're speaking about. Rav Ashi goes back to the statement of Rav. Rav said before that if two Eidim came along and said that your husband died, loy teitzei. So then when she got remarried, loy teitzei, she does not have to leave. So Rav now explains what that means. Before, until here, the Gemara was assuming what Rav meant is she doesn't have to leave her second husband. Now Rav Ashi comes and says, you know what Rav meant? My loy teitzei to come Rav. When Rav said loy teitzei, she doesn't leave. What he meant is loy teitzei me'ateira harishain. She does not leave from her first heter, and that is the heter to be married to the first husband. Why? In other words, she can go, not that she doesn't leave the second husband. She doesn't leave the first husband. She can go back to the first husband. Why could she go back to the first husband? So this goes back to a point that we learned yesterday in the Mishnah. In the case that a woman got remarried because two Eidim said that her husband died, it's an einus. The fact that she did so, based on the words of the two Eidim, she's trusting two Eidim. It's a total einus. So whatever relation she had with another man being an einus, now that allows her to go back to her first husband. That's all Rav meant to say. Rav once said this before. That now we learned in our Mishnah. She got married based on the words of two Eidim without the permission of the Bezin, just relying on Eidim. Because this is an Einis, she can go back to her first husband. So we pass like our Mishnah. So Rav said this already once. And says the Gemara, Rav did not say these two different statements. Rav only said one. And from one, they understood the other. Rav said that that loy teitzem etera arisha, and from that they understood that the halach is like what it said in our Mishnah. But he didn't say both of these statements separately. Itmer, we learned another halacha that Shmuel said. Amar Shmuel loy shanu. So Shmuel says we did not learn the halacha of the Mishnah, that a woman that gets married based on the words of an eidecha, the remarried that is, and now the husband shows up, that she has to leave the second marriage and the first marriage as well. So this is only said ela shaloi mak cheshasai, if she's not contradicting the words of the eidechad. Ava mak cheshasai loy teitzei. But if she's contradicting the words of the eidechad, so then she does not have to leave. She does not have to leave the marriage. So the Gemara now asks on this, what are we speaking about? Are we speaking about over here two Eidim that came and said that her husband died? If she is denying, if she's contradicting the words of the two Eidim, why does that matter? What we're speaking about over here is that there's only one Eid. Okay, so let me go back a second to explain this over here. That we're talking over here about a case where the husband showed up, and so what's the case over here? When the husband came and showed up, the husband that the Eid Echad, there was first an Eid Echad that came and said that the husband died. Now the husband came and showed up, and now makchashasai. So makchashasai means that she says to this man, "You are not my husband." So on that, Shmuel said, if she is saying, you are not my husband, she can remain married to the second marriage. So, but the Gemara asks in this, what are we speaking about? When she says, you are not my husband, is the case that this person has the support of two Eidim. Two Eidim are saying, yes, he is your husband. So then how could she contradict that? Elamai, what is the Gemara say? What are we speaking about? Ela b'chad. He only has one Eid supporting the fact that he is her husband. So, taime the makchashasai. So what are you saying? The only reason why she could remain married to her second husband is because she's contradicting him. Ha shaska. But if she would be quiet, teitzei. So in such a case, she would have to leave her second husband. Why should she have to leave? Ula said the following halacha: anytime the Torah trusts the word of an Eid Echad, harei kan shnayim. So the words of the Eid Echad are going to be as powerful as two. And if so, the words of an Eid Echad against two is worthless. So what's the case over here? First, we had an Eid Echad. An Eid Echad came and said, your husband died. Once we believe that Eid Echad has the power of two. Now the husband shows up, and the husband comes with the support of an Eid Echad, saying that he is the husband. If there's only one Eid supporting and saying that he is the husband, the words of that Eid Echad is contradicting the Eid Echad that said that he died, and the Eid Echad that said before that he died. Once we accept the word of that Eid Echad, he becomes like two. And therefore now, this Eid Echad saying that this is the husband is worthless. So why is Shmuel saying that only if she is contradicting the Eid Echad, then she can remain married to the second husband? Even if not, the words of this Eid Echad against the first Eid Echad that's now counted like two should be worthless. And says the Gemara, what are we speaking about over here? B'psulei Eidus, we're speaking about a case where this Psulei Eidus here, that is the second group of Eidim that came are Pasal Eidus, Rab Nechemia, and this follows Rab Nechemia's opinion. What does Rab Nechemia say? The Tanya Rab Nechemia says, whenever we find that the Torah trusts an Eid Echad, like in our case, an Eid Echad that says that the husband died, we trust Eid Echad. So what's the halacha? Haloich achar roiv deyos. So now, if you're going to have other Eidim that will contradict what the Eid Echad said, you have to follow the majority opinion. And therefore, va'asu shtei nashim be'ish echad, even two women, which are usually pasal eidas, against one man, kishnei nashim be'ish echad. It's like two men against one man. So the point that Rab Nechemia holds, Rab Nechemia disagrees with what we said before. Before, Ula said that when one Eid says something, the words of an Eid Echad that are accepted becomes like two Eidim, and nobody can contradict those two Eidim. But Rab Nechemia says when we trust an Eid Echad, we still could listen to other two Eidim, and we just have to look at the majority opinion. Even if it's Pasal Eidus, we go according to the majority opinion. And that's what Shmuel was speaking about. So what's the Gemara trying to say over here? That we're going according to the majority opinion based on who? On Pasal Eidus. So because it's based on Pasal Eidus, if she's quiet and she's admitting to what these Pasal Eidus are saying, that this is her husband, so then she has to leave her marriage, or the second marriage. But if she's going to contradict these Pasal Eidos, because they are Pasal Eidos, and she's saying that she doesn't accept what they say, so then we're going to rely on the Eid Echad that said that her husband died. That's the halacha that Shmuel said. Or another answer we can say, when you have a kosher Eid that came in the beginning and said that her husband died, then afila meya nashim keidechad damyan. So even if there's 100 women, that are 100 pasal eidas that came and said that her husband is still alive, and this man that showed up here is her husband, so they're all going to be like one Eid. Against that kosher Eid that came in the beginning, even Rab Nechemia will agree, a kosher Eid that came in the beginning is as powerful as two Eidim, and we're not going to believe anybody against him. But hacha b'mayaskinon, what are we speaking about? Going to asya isha meikara. The first Eid that said that her husband died was not a kosher Eid. It was a woman that said so. And v'teritzel Rab Nechemia hachi. And this is the way you have to understand what Rab Nechemia's opinion is. That Rab Nechemia said, any time the Torah believes one Eid, halech acharoiv deis, you follow the majority opinion, v'asu shtei nashim, and two women are going to be now bi'isha achas, against one woman that said Eidus before, kishnei anoshim bi'ish echad, like two against one man. So Rab Nechemia, when he says you follow majority opinion, he wasn't speaking about when a kosher Eid came in the beginning. If it was a kosher Eid, even Rab Nechemia would agree that we don't follow majority opinion. But if it was a pasal Eid, if it was a woman that came in the beginning and said that your husband died, so then we're going to follow the majority opinion. If it's two women now that are coming and saying that your husband is alive against one man, which is a kosher Eid, so then kapalgo palgadami. So then that's going to be a contradiction, and we're not going to trust the words of these majority opinion that came afterwards. So the point is that according to this answer, Shmuel was speaking about a case that the one that said that her husband died in the beginning was a pasal Eid. So therefore now, if she comes and contradicts these pasal Eidim that are saying that this is her husband that came here, we're going to trust her. But if she does not contradict them, so then she's going to have to leave her marriage.